Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
Well, I follow you. I listen to you. So that was, I like your energy. I'm into human design, but I don't really know that much about it. I kind of have done so many personality tests. I've done color personalities. I've done, the Myers-Briggs. I've done so many Enneagram, and nothing really made sense to me. But the human design makes sense to me.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, empowerment coach, visibility and marketing expert, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
All right, so let me talk a little bit more about the elevator pitch by design challenge that I ran. I want to start by saying that I had a little bit of resistance even doing it because I was leading something that I have done twice in the past with human design. So I've been talking about marketing, I've been talking about messaging and sharing strategies to refine your message. That is very similar to what other people teach in terms of marketing. Then last year, I infused the Enneagram into it to change it up a little bit so that you leverage your uniqueness more. Instead of focusing so much on your ideal client, you start with yourself. And then this year, I wanted to bring in human design. And I love creating things intuitively as I go. And I wasn't prepared, honestly, for the amazingness of what I created myself. And so many ladies that participated in the challenge have been telling me, I can't believe this was free. This was so much amazing content, and you helped me validate myself so much. And some of you that are watching me actually participated in the challenge. So I'd love to hear your takeaways and your feedback as well. People were saying, you're going to have to do this again. You're going to have to run this again. So stay tuned because I'm just getting started, friends, with human design. And let me know if you can hear me okay. Anyway, so the whole goal of this was to help you refine your message using your uniqueness so that people will connect with you. Let me know if I'm breaking up because it kind of looks like I'm breaking up when I look at my phone, but we'll see. I'm recording this too. And when I started looking back at my own journey during the challenge, I compiled a list of back-to-back of my pitches through the years. And I started noticing that as I became clearer with my messaging, I started increasing in sales. So in the challenge, I showed what the income goals that I hit, and it was clear how much clearer I got with my elevator pitch and with the messaging and with my promises, with my offers, And so I started off, helping moms with Beachbody and self-esteem, and then I went on to help women entrepreneurs with mindset, and then talking more about marketing, and my income started growing. So that's when I had my first $10,000 in sales, was when it became a little bit more refined. Then I had my first 10K launch in 2021. Then I reached 6 figures in my business. And then most recently in January, I had my first 10K week. And all of these things have been happening as I became more aware of myself and started infusing that uniqueness in what I do. So I want you to first start doing this. If you're noticing an increase in your sales, we need to be able to pinpoint that, right? It's data so that you can leverage that. Things don't get to be just an accident in business. They don't get to be just a fluke in business. We need to analyze the patterns and use analysis, obviously our intuition too. It's a combination of both to then be able to duplicate those results and increase and double those results and triple those results. And I started noticing this pattern. And especially as I started pairing all of my strategy with human design, I started noticing that as I was more aware through human design of what people come to me for, things started getting more refined. And this is one of the things that I shared in the challenge. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you become more aware of what makes you unique, you can't help but express that because now you're finally giving yourself permission to be that. And that's what human design has been doing for me. It's been really operating like a mirror. It's telling me, hey, Marta, everything you've been doing, it hasn't been by accident. It hasn't just been a harebrained idea. You were pulled in that direction. So what if I already know what the direction is with intentionally, you know what I mean? Instead of just, oh, I'm doing this right now, I'm trying this out, is no, this is the next step for me and I know it because I am intuitively being guided. So I started noticing all of this for myself, and I started realizing I get to share this with people so that they can do this more intentionally as well. And the results throughout the challenge were amazing. The things that I taught through the challenge were just a little sliver of what I want to get into the program. Because it's not just a program that teaches you human design. No, it's a program that helps you pull certain elements off of your human design to help you with your marketing and to really elevate your content, to make it stand out amongst the competition and other people that are doing something similar. How do you stand out? You become more of you. And that's what human design can help you with. So one of the things that I talked about in the challenge that was just so amazing, it was really a revelation that I had, which is obvious, but I hadn't put two and two together. And that's why I want to shout it from the rooftop, is that people are attracted to your definition. So your defined centers in human design are what makes your type of human design, right? So if you're a manifestor, if you're a generator, if you're a projector, it's not just a name that's given to you. It is the type that you get based on how many of the 9 centers you have defined. So you being that type is the very thing that people become attracted to. So if you are a manifestor, you have amazing initiation capabilities, right? You have this capability of creating a vision, of seeing the vision, having that visionary ability. And this is the very thing that you get to leverage as an entrepreneur. I get to help people in coming up with a vision, especially the people that are not manifestors, because they don't have those defined centers. As a generator myself, let me use myself more as an example. I have my sacral defined. That's the very thing that shines brightly as I walk up in a room or as somebody comes into contact with me. And so that's what I get to help people with. I get to help people with passion, with determination, with the sense of completion, with taking action. That's so generator-like, right? And that's not the same thing that you would get, for example, out of a projector. A projector with not having a defined sacral center, their definition happens elsewhere. And so that's the very thing that attracts people. So what we did together in the challenge was helping you look at your chart and understand, wow, people are attracted to me because of my type, because of my aura type. And then inside the Show Up Empowered program, we're going to look individually at all of your defined centers, not just the very key ones that make your aura type, but to understand what people are looking for in you. Because your clients, they come to you for a solution, right? And that solution that you already have, because you're already serving people, that solution can be explained by the areas where they don't feel good enough. And when you have those defined centers, you at times feel too much in those centers. So that's the very thing that you can help people with. So where is your client insecure that you're confident? That's the perfect match. That's the marriage. And that's what I have been finding with human design. I definitely help people with action, right? With being more proactive, with starting and finishing things. And that's very generator of me. So you see how human design is not really showing me something that's not there. It's not telling me, hey, Marta, you're operating completely wrong. It's saying, this is how you operate. And it's clear because it's true. So I get to leverage that in my content even more and be more intentional. So what does that say about you? The next aspect that we covered in the challenge that was just a sliver of what we're actually going to do inside the Show Up Empowered program, which is a 6-week program and beyond, because once you join, you get lifetime access to future rounds at no added investment. I talked about your conscious sun. So, you know, like in astrology, your sun sign is based on your birth date, right? So depending on which month you were born and which day of the month, then you are assigned a zodiac sign. But the human design version of that takes it even a step further, because depending on the date and the month that you were born, you have a specific gate, and that is called your sun gate. And once I learned that your sun gate is actually 70% of your personality, I decided to not distract myself with all the other gates in human design because my gosh, there's so many different rabbit holes in human design. There's so many different planets. And there's so many people that teach human design, especially for marketing, that say, oh, look at your Mercury, because that's the planet of communication, and start leveraging that for your content. And to be honest, I felt like that confused me more than anything, especially if you're just starting out. So instead of doing that, I went for the thing that's prominent. Same way that when I walk into a room, you're going to get that generatorness. When I walk into a room, you're going to get the gate 9, because that is my conscious sun, and that is 70% of my personality. That is really that role that I am here to play. And the gate 9 is the gate of focus. So when you think about determination, when you think about pursuing something, and I always bring this as an example, and at times I even cry when I talk about it. On my wedding day, the first few words that came out of my husband's mouth and his vows were, Marta, your persistence never ceases to me. So this is who I am. This is what people get when they get into contact with me. And so as I realized this, I started sharing more about this in my content. Friends, if you're feeling like giving up, if you're starting and not finishing, this is what you get with me. And guess what? That's where empowered came from, right? That's where, and I didn't know this, when I shifted my messaging and refined it to talk about the empowered woman, I was following that gate of focus. I was following that sacral energy of determination, which, by the way, my 9 gate is in my sacral. So everything is interconnected. Is this making sense? So what does it say about you? So in the challenge, I encourage the ladies to look at their sun gate and look for keywords, not only for their aura type, but also for their sun gate, to infuse that into their elevator pitch. So we're not coming up with some super clever thing that's going to trick people into buying. We're actually using things that are a part of who you are, not a part of who James Wedmore is or Amy Porterfield is, a part of you, and using that to attract people to you, because they're already attracted to that. So, you know, when you start working with a client that is just such a dream client, and you're like, I am so grateful that you chose to work with me. And it's almost like a mystery, right? From heaven, from the heavens above. How did you find me? How did I find you? And it's that perfect marriage. Through human design, I've been seeing that it's not a mystery anymore. People come to me because of who I am. Who am I? I know, right? And then you get to do that for yourself. So I'm so excited that throughout the challenge, from day one, I already said, if this resonates with you, join today. And on day one, I actually offered a discount for people that were like ready to take action because they really resonated with the content. And 2 ladies joined right then and there, Shari and Yvonne. So I'm going to go ahead and let Yvonne in, because I would love to hear her version of how the challenge went for her. Hi, Yvonne. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm already live in the group, and that's why you were waiting in the room, because I wasn't done talking.
That's
How
fine.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So I will have you introduce yourself, and then I'll get into some specific questions. But I was talking about the challenge, how it went, what I shared, how it's just a little snippet of what we're going to be doing inside the program. So I would love to, have you introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then if you want to get into a little bit why you were drawn to even taking the challenge to begin with, we'll start there, and then I'll go see what Shari is.
Okay, sounds good. So my name is Yvonne Yeh Gee. I'm a retired physical therapist turned wellness advocate and bucket list coach. So I have seen so many people in hospice, and I work with geriatrics. So I see so many people dying with regrets, and they always tell me, you're so young, do everything you can now. Don't wait. Don't wait for one day. So my motto is like day one or one day. So even my dad had a whole list of things on his bucket list, and he was not able to complete them. And so my mission is to teach people how to celebrate life now. I don't believe in celebrations of life after you're dead. I want people to celebrate life now, and I can teach you how to live your bucket list. Because if you told me I'd be living my bucket list 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have said you're crazy, but I am actually living my bucket list. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Oh my
So,
gosh, I love that story and how it's so interconnected with who you are in your life, which human design explains. But tell us more about what got you interested in the challenge to begin with and what your experience was in there.
well, I follow you, I listen to you. So that was, I like your energy. I'm into human design, but I don't really know that much about it. I kind of have done so many personality tests. I've done color personalities. I've done, the Myers-Briggs. I've done so many Enneagram, and nothing really made sense to me. But the human design makes sense to me. Like you just kind of say, wow, that really explains why I do this, why I say this, why I like these things, don't like these people, like these foods, like whatever. It's kind of like eye-opening. And I'm like, wow, I'm in my 50s and I finally figured out like why I do the things I do and all of that. So the human design was one of the things that drew me to what you were talking about, but also just when you talk, I want to listen. So I was like, okay, I'm going to join Marta. And I took notes. I mean, I have pages of notes. And just to see how you work with other people was really welcoming and inviting and just really comfortable. Like you put them in the hot seat, but it's not like uncomfortable. It's like, wow, she really has a skill and a talent to really pull things out of you that's already inside you. And so that's your human design working with my human design. And
Yeah.
so when you had the challenge, I had to join it. I invited my whole, essential oils team, and they're like, okay, well, you can just tell us. I'm like, okay, well, you're missing out on something big. I'll tell you later. And then you had the 6-week program. And I thought, well, now's my chance to really understand how to market, how to write, how to use my human design to like propel me into a business that feels right. Because a lot of times we're taught to do this, this, and this. It's like, well, that doesn't really feel right to me, but I'll do it. And then you're like, man, that just wasn't really, it just didn't really work. And then you feel bad. And so it's just this cycle of like trying new things. So when you talk about the human design and working in business and making sure you're getting your voice out there, it made sense to me. So that's why I joined it. And
Thank you so much.
it was on a discount. I was like, I can't
Yes,
pass up a discount.
I know you were very smart. And that's why I did that, because I was like, if people are already resonating, which was such confirmation that you two ladies joined right away, is that obviously you looked at the discount, but if you hadn't resonated with it, it doesn't matter what discount it is, right? So it was a combination of the two. And thank you for saying that my approach is a loving approach. I was actually just talking to Christy about this, because that's also something that is very explainable with human design. Some people are meant to be more in your face and tell you the things you don't want to hear. We need those people in our life, right? But I'm not one of those people. That's you. Okay. That's admittedly not who I am. And at certain points in life, we need those types of people. But I am more on the camp of tough love at times, but more so, with a gentle approach. And if that's something that whoever's out there listening needs to be able to grow their business, and that's definitely what they're going to get out of me. Hi, Shari. Thank you so much for joining us. So what we're doing for this first part is introducing yourself and then tell us who you are, what you do, and then what drew you to the challenge to begin with. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the program as well.
Okay. I don't have my new revised elevator pitch
Oh, you're fine.
to memory yet. So I'll have to just say something that is, not as good as it was. But I'm Shari Wagner. I own Ironclad Fitness, which is a fitness company. I'm a kettlebell coach, and I teach mostly online group classes and personal training. So what drew me to the challenge was the elevator pitch, which I obviously have to practice, because it would have been really nice to introduce myself with that lovely elevator pitch that
it's
wrote.
Very soon, so you're good.
It never even occurred to me because I didn't know I was going to introduce myself in that way. So it never occurred to me to like have it right here.
That's right.
So the thing that drew me to the free challenge first was, well, you and I had recently had a connection together. And, you
Mhm.
know, just as we were sort of wrapping up, I was like, wait, I never got to ask you what human design was. And when, you know, when you told me, that was super interesting to me, because I just love all of that kind of stuff, you know,
Mhm.
astrology and personality traits and just everything about like what makes you who you are. And so when I saw that you were doing the challenge that incorporated that into your elevator pitch, I thought, well, I know my elevator pitch could use some work. And, you know, every time that I go to introduce myself at a networking event or whatever, I kind of struggle with what to say.
Mhm.
And so that whole thing was just super appealing, just because I thought, well, you know, it was like one really specific aspect to work on, and learning about the human design as a result, you know, that's really what drew me, was what could I learn about the human design. And
Mhm.
then, you know, in
Awesome.
the very first day was like, oh, not only can I, you know, what can I learn about the human design, but now how can I apply it to my business too? That was just
Mhm.
like,
And I love that you said apply it to my business, because even though the challenge was focused on the elevator pitch, I really wanted to make it clear to people that the elevator pitch is not the end all. And we spend so much time as entrepreneurs really stressing, right, over this perfect sentence that's supposed to be tattooed on our forehead for the rest of our lives, you know, and it's like, no, you are not your elevator pitch. This is just a piece of it. And it also comes down to how you're going to be explaining this further into your content. So you get to explain it more into your content. And you also get to package this into an offer, which towards the end of the challenge, that's where I went, is actually everything you're going to do has to have something to do with the offer. So if you don't have a very refined offer with very refined wording, you don't have content, and that's why people don't sell. So that was something else that I wanted to get into, was the vision that you have by joining the program on how this is going to help you beyond the elevator pitch, because we know that that's not necessarily what's going to make you sales. It's the conversations. It's how you express yourself. Because many people come to me at times saying, Marta, I want to be on TEDx, because they think that's what's going to get them more sales and more clients. And then they confide in me saying, oh, I don't know if I can invest in this because I need to bring in some money first. And I tell them, well, then you don't need to do TEDx at all right now, friend. You need to refine your message and make some sales so that you can then dedicate some time to pitching and refining your talk. Not that you can't go do a TEDx right now, but if you're really struggling financially wise, you need to refine your content and your marketing, because that's what actually, because you could do a TEDx and have people not want to connect with you afterwards. In fact, I've done many speaking engagements that did not turn into clients, and I know it's because my messaging wasn't refined. So I would love to hear from you ladies in terms of like how you see this being helpful to you in terms of leading this to sales, because that's what we're going at. We're going into the profit, because this is really what I see as my most tangible program when it comes to sales, because it handles marketing, whereas the others are marketing, but they're not necessarily a straight shot. They're straight shots to the stage, but not a straight shot to sales. So Yvonne, tell us what you have to say about that.
Well, I'm working on my website, and you know, the wording is so important, like you said. And so I want, when you talked about the words and the human design and making your elevator pitch, I thought, well, it can't just be the elevator pitch. It has to be the whole continuum of like the funnel. Well, at first inviting, and then the funnel, and then like making the offer, and then like making it so compelling that people are like, oh, I can't miss out on this. Like, I don't want to have FOMO. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. This is what I've been waiting for. She said it in a way that really got my attention. And she's different than someone else, because you can Google stuff on bucket list, right? And all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But I have a different approach. And that's what I want people to understand when they read things that I write, or when I talk to people, or when I'm making an offer. And I think this is going to be a great program.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. What about you, Shari?
So for me, I struggle a lot with content, and I'm sort of like, I've become really averse to creating new content all the time. just with, getting really burnt out in the past of having to do that a lot. And just that whole, that whole thing of like Chrissy was talking about it, like staring at a blank page and I need to write something. What am I going to write? So I liked how this kind of really gave a framework for, keywords to always infuse in there, sort of a jumping off point. And I'm a very authentic person. Authenticity is like my absolute top value. And as it turns out, that's part of my human design too. So,
Imagine that.
oh yeah, makes a little bit of sense, right? And so, how to speak authentically in the written word is really different than your verbal word, I think. And I'm always interested in updating content that I have on my website. You don't want to keep the same content year after year, and I have. And, I feel like just as things need a refresher, like I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but, needing a refresher, but then like, there was something about that challenge. Like, I wish we were still going with it because it kept me so fired up and so like, I don't know, just so engaged and like, having like a renewed life of writing content again. Whereas, before I had been like, oh, I don't want to do it. It was like pulling teeth. So, and somebody actually noticed, like I went on to, one of the posts I did in our Polka Dot Powerhouse group, on Tuesday, the first day of the challenge, I don't know, it like totally lit fire under me. And I created this post that I thought was just like so good. And one of my friends said, that post you did today was amazing. Like, what got into you? And I was like, well, I actually had been telling her about that I was doing that. And she's like, oh, so that's probably what got into you. And I was like, yeah, I guess. So, so I already saw benefit before I even joined that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was kind of like a no-brainer at that point.
And it's such a testimony of once you see that stuff, it's going to come out of you, even if you're not actively trying, just because it becomes more top of mind, or you actually loosen up in that way of being more of yourself. It's just magical. And I love that both of you talked about the website, because I remember you messaged me, Shari, before you decided to join, and you asked me, I've been burned out with social media. Will this work for me, even if I don't want to have a full-blown social media strategy? And my answer was yes, because the point is for you to see what works for you. So if doing social media is not what works for you, then you're going to find another way. Or if it is, but it's not the way I do it, then awesome. You're going to find what works for you. You're not going to beat yourself up because you're going to be following really your own strategy and your own design, which is what we're going for with this whole process. All right, so let's wrap it up. One of the things that I decided to share today in my content, because I'm creating content as well to talk about the program, which is very meta, is making it very clear who this is not for. And then I also want you ladies to jump in on who this is for, because it's you, and then, how you can express that. Because some of the people that I talked to that were in the challenge said, I love the challenge, but I'm not drawn to human design. That's such a valid response and objection. So if you're not drawn to human design, this is not for you, obviously, because we're going to be talking about human design. And that's fine if you're not drawn to it as well. Awesome. The other thing is if you feel really in control and confident with your marketing strategy and with your sales strategy, then this may not be relevant for you, because that's what we're going to be talking about is content creation, is making sales, increasing your sales. If you're already confident with that, then you don't really need it. And the last thing that I have been really focusing on a lot is how to sharpen your intuition to create content. If you're not drawn to that, then if you think you're good with that, then that's great as well. But if not, that's really what we're going to be focusing on, which Shari just talked about. Like, I had this idea and it came to me and I did it. I mean, if that isn't the definition of intuition and following what's already in there, it wasn't that I told you, Shari, write this post and it's going to be amazing today. You came up with it, right? But as a result of being in that environment and finding those things, right? Digging up those things about your human design. So I'd love to wrap it up. Why would you recommend somebody join this, Yvonne? Show up empowered with human design.
Well, I think if anyone has been curious about their person, like how do they infuse their personality and, like Shari said, their authenticity into their marketing and into their writing, however, if it's email or social media or just talking to people, it's like, how do you make a lasting impression because of your human design, right? You want
Love
people to
those words.
remember you. And if you can speak your language to the people that need to hear you, then they're going to remember you. And that's, even if they don't sign up for your thing, they might say, oh, I heard this person talk about this. You need to meet her. It's like it's not maybe just the direct connection, but the indirect connections too.
Oh, that's powerful. I always say I need to take notes now. I will re-listen to this and use this in my content. If you want to make a lasting impression with your words, then this is it. Awesome, Yvonne. Thank you. What about you, Shari? Why would you recommend someone join?
I probably couldn't say it any better than Yvonne did, but yeah, like to really infuse yourself into your content. And I feel like it really would be good for somebody who struggles with content. Because once you find all those traits about yourself and discover like keywords to use, there's just something about trying to write a sentence and then trying to write a sentence with one of those keywords that it just sparks something, I feel like.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I'd also say, for anybody who has an interest, like I really felt the connection between things I've read about astrology and, just sun signs and rising signs and all of that. I feel like there's so many parallels to that, but yet this goes a lot deeper or just maybe differently deeper. So I feel like anybody who has an interest in that and owns a business, like this would be perfect for them.
This is great too. So maybe they're not super aware of human design, but they already have some astrology knowledge or are drawn to astrology. It really goes hand in hand. So check it out. I love it. This is so good. Thank you so much, ladies, for your time. Now, I would love for you to tell us how we can find you if you have anything going on right now or in the near future for people to participate or join. Yvonne, tell us.
Well, I have a 21-day bucket list challenge that starts on April 1st. It's 21 days. I have a 21 area of your life quiz that you can take to kind of assess and have a baseline. And then I have one-on-one, project managing a bucket list goal for you. So I can do that because so many people get lost in the details or get lost in the ideas and they don't even know where to start. So I'm a good instigator. I'm a good finisher for other people. And I'm a good leader. So I can lead you through the steps. And that's it.
That's so good. And you sold that really well. I am a good at. Very good. I love it. So where can we find, I will post a link in the show notes specifically of the podcast episode. If you're able to plug this into the Facebook Live as well, I will make sure and tag you there. And where do you hang out the most? Is it Facebook, Instagram? So people
I probably hang out most on Facebook. So it's Yvonne Yeh Gee, and then, or Instagram, same thing. And also my website, all the same, Yvonne Yeh Gee.
Great. So it's easy to find you. Thank you so much, Yvonne. What about you, Shari?
I can be found at ironcladfit.com. That is the best way to reach me, really, though I am on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is Shari Wagner Official. Really any method of messaging is just fine. I do have a 30-day on-demand program that is about to start. I have several 30-day on-demand programs, but I have a new group about to start, the one called Get Up Strong. And so it's all about the exercise called the Turkish Get Up, which a lot of times if people know the Turkish Get Up and they hear it, they go, oh, but
don't want to do
it helps you get better at the Get Up. So if you go, oh, when you hear the Get Up, Turkish Get Up, then you need this program actually. And if you have no idea what it's about, then that's just fine too. So basically over the course of 30 days, deliver all kinds of videos and instruction and give little mini workouts, 15 to 30 minutes a piece And everything is focused on learning how to do the get up properly, and then supportive exercises that help with strength and mobility. So that is $45 until the end of today. My early bird ends today. I actually just extended it one day, not because of this, but for another reason. But $45 special ends today. Otherwise, it's $60 for all 30 days. And then also I offer group live stream fitness classes, and I do personal training, and the personal training is all online. Basically like your workout, your way, your time, and you just have all of the support from me behind the scenes. That's actually something that's my goal for the 6-week program, is how to show up empowered with that program and have better languaging on how to explain it.
That's so good. And I got to tell you, you have such creative names for your programs. I love it. You're already crushing it with that. So good job. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I'll make sure and post all of the links in the show notes of the episode. Thank you so much. And I will see you next week in the Show Up Empowering program. And I hope more ladies get to join as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends, or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.